from Electrocraft.
Welcome to Room Tone. My name is William Garrett. The room tone for today's chat comes from Electrocraft East, my studio in New York City. The room tone is altered by the voice of San Francisco-based video DJ and film director Mike Relm. Raised in the San Francisco suburb of Daly City, Mike grew up in the golden era of hip-hop surrounded by DJ culture. As his popularity grew, he added a video component and became a pioneer of scratching video and turntables. Using technology as a creative tool and not a crutch, he created a new form of musical and visual entertainment. In high demand as a performer, he has toured the world extensively on his own and with the Blue Man Group and Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam Tour. As an early adopter of YouTube, he has created a video remix channel, Relm Vision, and has more than 200,000 followers that marvel over his crafty and humorous takes on current popular culture. After directing numerous music videos, he is now putting the finishing touches on his first feature film, American Recluse. In today's conversation, we talk about growing up in just the right spot to become a DJ, a technology breakthrough on a trip to Japan, how each new creative outlet feeds the others, and making it big, being served a steak by a naked woman. All right, Mike. Well, thanks for coming by to visit with me.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
This is great. Nice to have you in New York City.
Nice to be here. I love this setup. Like I'm in the vocal, for people, you obviously can't see, but I'm in the vocal booth and Will is in the control room.
That's right. And that gives me some editing power later on.
Yeah.
As I talk over some brilliant thing you've said, I can cut my own voice out.
Oh, there will be none of that. Don't worry.
Well, again, I appreciate you being here. I know you're very busy while you're here in the city doing all kinds of events and things. So tell me about growing up in San Francisco, in the Daly City section of San Francisco, and what were your original creative initiatives? Did it come from family? Did it come from friends, from school?
Daly City is it's about 15 minutes south of San Francisco. So it was like far enough where, if it's a suburb, but you can go to the city anytime. So if I wanted to go to like a hip hop event or something, like it was like right there. I'd say creatively, a lot of stuff came from mostly my friends. The high school I went to, there was just a lot of DJs for some reason. Everyone was in a DJ group. And by that, I don't mean like everyone was a DJ. There was in a DJ group because the DJs were the party. Like if the school wanted to do the homecoming dance, like they hired out a DJ group, paying like $200, but they would bring like truss lighting and full stacks and just there'd be like 20 guys to set it up because everyone's doing it for free and just to get into the party.
In the evolution of hip hop, where were things at this point in time when you were in high school?
It was a good time. This was like 94, 95. I mean, like we're talking about like Tribe, Pharcyde, Souls of Mischief, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, like all that stuff was happening. We were getting a lot of stuff from New York, like Tribe stuff, and I was listening to like Digital Underground and like even stuff from like LA, like like obviously The Chronic, like Dr. Dre and
right.
Snoop and DJ Quick and that kind of stuff. To me, it I was so young, I didn't realize like things were just right there. Like when they were like shouting out Oakland, California, I'm like, oh yeah, Oakland, I know where that is. I didn't realize how special it was till like a little later when I was like, okay, that is right there. Like, that is kind of special.
And the DJing style that you started to work in, was it a remix style or just playing songs into songs? In the 70s, when I was coming along, a DJ was just somebody who basically spun records one into the other and kept, in the disco era, kept the beat going.
That's an important aspect. That's how you start because that's like the most basic element of it. But like, after doing that repeatedly, you had a very finite amount of music because you're buying records. I couldn't just like download something.
Right, exactly.
I had like one crate, maybe like 40, 50 records, and you just kind of rotate through those. You get kind of bored, so you start scratching and then you buy doubles and you juggle them. The basic version of that is you're looping maybe the same phrase back and forth. And they can get more intricate and you can go faster and get just a little more creative with it. Cut up phrases and kind of make something that's completely different from what you started with.
Where were you picking up all these techniques? Was there one person in the scene you were following, or was everybody studying other people?
Again, that's another thing that just kind of happened to be going on really close to me, which is like the Invisible Scratch Pickles, like Mixmaster Mike and all them. Like, that was right there.
Can you say that Scratch Pickle name one more time?
The Invisible Scratch Pickles. That was a group with like Mixmaster Mike, like, from the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And so that was going on in Daly City. And to me, again, I just assumed that every town had like a elder statesman of group of DJs who were like, okay, here's how you do it.
Wow.
We're doing all these cool scratches. Dude, I just took it for granted, I think. It was a good time. Like, we're just kind of messing around with the records. And again, I just assumed that everyone was doing the same thing. And then I talked to friends later who grew up in, like, L.A., and they were like, no, we were in garage bands, basically.
Were you thinking this would become a career, or did you have other interest in academic things or anything like that?
Oh, no way, no way.
You were totally focused on the music.
Yeah, I mean, in high school, yeah, because that was like really when I kind of figured out that I had like a kind of a knack for it. I didn't think it'd be a career because there wasn't a career back then. It was, you had a couple choices. You could be a club DJ, which is pretty cool. You could be a radio DJ, which is also pretty cool. A couple 100,000 people listen to you every day, possibly, if you're mixing on the radio. Then there was like the wedding DJs. Not what I wanted to do. I've done a few. There's a lot of pressure in that, though. You know what I mean? It's like no matter how young the couple is and how like cool they say their family is, like you can never not play like older stuff. Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, right.
But like, man, like you can't not play like Cha-Cha Slide in that situation because you have a certain group of, you don't want people sitting down and being pissed at you. And if it's a cool group, like I don't want to be DJing that. I want to be like hanging out with those guys.
Yeah, right, exactly. What did your family think of what you were up to?
They were kind of supportive. I mean, they were supportive until it got expensive. Wait, why do you need like $400 for a record player? This is crazy.
That's funny.
I remember my dad saying, the arm doesn't lift up when the record's over.
At the end of it.
This is a piece of Are you swearing on this podcast?
Yeah, of course we are. Yes.
Like, this is a piece of shit. Like how could you, but no.
Right. That is very funny. And now, were your parents in any kind of creative fields or anybody else in your family?
No, I would say like my brother, he was like the artist of the family. Like he was into graffiti and I was in DJing. So it kind of worked out that way.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it was kind of just us two.
And then after high school, what did you do then?
I went to college. I went to San Francisco State. So I stayed home because I wanted to there was just like a cool, all my friends were there, all my DJ buddies were there. And I was like, well, I gotta find a DJ gig around here. And I started entering these competitions, like battles. I won a couple, and that allowed me to, travel. I remember my first outside of California gig was in Portland. I was like, this is crazy. I can get used to this. They fly me out, like, cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask about first gigs and starting to gain a reputation as a DJ.
It was interesting because, it wasn't like the biggest show, but it was like, to me, like, this was amazing. Like I felt a huge amount of pressure on my first gigs because they're flying me out, they're putting me up, they're paying me. It's just like, oh, now I got to deliver. Like, whoa, what do I need to do something special for this? Like, it's weird. Like, I'm sure every performer kind of has this sort of anxiety about it. You know what I mean? And in retrospect, it was just a club gig. It was just like play some records club.
Well, that's an interesting question for me is when DJs transitioned from background dance music, controlling a club situation to actually, like you would go see a rock band, you buy a ticket to see a DJ. And when was that transition starting to happen when you were in your beginnings?
I think it was sort of budding. It wasn't what it is now, but again, it was such a new concept to me. Me personally, too. So I remember flying out, and then the promoter brought me to a strip club for lunch. And I was like, whoa, I'm grown up. This is it.
That's hysterical.
This is how it's going to be. I'm going to eat a steak served by a naked woman.
Wow.
I guess this is it.
There you go. You're done.
Yeah, I guess this is just how it works.
That is hilarious.
That's life.
So as you're growing as a DJ, when did the video component come into it?
I went to Japan and I was talking to Pioneer because Pioneer was making these like CDJs, which, you know, I didn't personally like that much because I just like the feel of vinyl. I needed to have that.
So basically, it was a system for those who don't know. Explain what it's just so it
Oh,
makes
okay.
it so
So-
you can scratch a CD basically.
Yeah, there's a platter that you can kind of scratch and spin forward and backwards, sort of like a turntable. It emulates it. It doesn't turn itself. Like there's no motor, so you got to kind of like watch there's a digital sort of clock almost. Like it gives you just enough that you can like do, you know, you can play a club and no one would notice if they weren't really paying attention. You can change the speed and, you know, lock the pitch and everything and like scan through things really fast, which is kind of cool. So they brought me in and they're like, you know, I want to talk to you about the CDJ because like, you know, you don't use them. Like, why don't you use them?
So at this point, you were a fairly established DJ of Pioneers talking to you about future technologies.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had an in, you know, just because I guess they like what I was doing.
Great.
So I said, look, I'm just not going to do it. Like, I'm going to show you guys what I can do, what I do on turntables, and you will see like how this doesn't make sense. How I physically can't do it on these. So I showed them that, and they're like, okay, we get it. So what do you want to do now? I said, I want to go to the place where you buy all the bootleg DVDs. I just wanted to load up on like movies and stuff. I was like, oh, you like movies? So let me show you one more thing. So I go to this room, and it's this kind of empty room with like a larger CDJ, and there's a TV in front of it. And it's not a CDJ, it's a DVJ. So it's a platter with a DVD that you can manipulate like that. And I'm like, whoa.
That must have blown your mind.
Yeah. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, is this a prototype? What is this? Like, well, it's not out yet, but like, check it out. So they have like a Beyonce video on. So I'm scratching it like a record. And it's the video, and it's actually really good and very low latency. It gave me chills. I was like, this is like science fiction right here. Like this is insane. That like out of all the instruments that you could have picked to manipulate a video, like it's a turntable basically.
Which was totally revolutionary at that time.
Yeah, because I mean, I was editing videos and stuff, and I knew how to use like Final Cut, and I was like, this is like Final Cut, but like live.
I was going to say live
Oh my
Final
God.
Cut. How cool is that?
Yeah. So I was that clicked.
So you said, give me one of these, thank you very much.
Yes. I said, I will take this one home. You will never see it again.
And I know that that's become such a large component of what you're doing now is the live manipulation of video, which is great.
Yeah. And I think it's because, and also I studied film in college. I mean, I love movies. I think everyone does to a certain degree. And that's what I wanted to do. And then music kind of got in the way. Yeah, or just kept going. Like my DJ just kept going. I was like, God, I can't make this decision. I can't like split off from this because there's so many cool things that I can do in DJing now. You know, I can't pass the gigs up because school's not going anywhere. But then when they showed me the DVJ, I was just like, oh my God, I can do everything now.
That's amazing. So that pulled the film component back into your DJing and gave you a way to do both.
Yeah, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it because I was already like, what I would do in my shows was I would just make a loop, like a 2-hour, you know, whatever. It doesn't need some kind of visual where it didn't matter what song was playing because it wasn't synced up. It was just playing.
So obviously technology made a huge difference in terms of how you could move forward and be more creative.
Oh, technology was everything. The technology, of course, it's so good in certain ways. Like if you want to use it and take it to the next level, that's what I like to see. But a lot of people, you know, if I'm a kid starting out right now, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get a computer. Ooh, I got to get this other thing to like, I got to get turntables and a mixer, and then I got to learn how to scratch and all this stuff. Like, that's not as appealing as, oh, I'll use the program to like mix these beats for me, and then I can focus on like being me on stage. And I see the appeal because, you know, you go on the internet, it's like these guys are performing for tens of thousands of people, but to me as an artist, it's just like, but then what are you doing though? Like what's going on up there?
I think that's what, for me, would divide the artist from a certain other level. I don't want to downgrade it, but you know, some people are doing great things, but there's a spontaneity to me that needs to be there.
Yeah.
And with all the technology, you can remove that. Maybe these people just put on the same show every night once it's sorted out.
It's about reading the crowd too. That's the fun. I mean, that's the fun part to me. It's like, okay, a New York crowd is completely different from San Francisco or Chicago or Miami or whatever. That's the fun of it. Like, it's crazy because remember who was on SNL who got caught lip syncing? Ashley Simpson.
Ah, yes.
Remember that?
I remember what a big controversy that was.
That was a huge deal. That
Yeah.
was a huge deal to the point where at her next gig, where she like sang the national anthem, so she got booed. And I'm like, okay, look at these. This is so much. It's almost encouraged. And I talk to kids. Everyone knows what's going on, but they're like, I don't care. There's a great light show, and all my friends are there.
So as your DJing is getting better and better, and you're doing more of the video remixing, tell me about going on tour with Blue Man Group and how that changed things for you.
They were looking for an opening act for their upcoming tour, and so when they called, it's like, really?
And that went on for a couple of years, right? Off and on?
Yeah, that was like 2 years we were touring, and that was just amazing because I didn't realize how fortunate I was to get something out of the blue, no pun intended. But like that just doesn't happen anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
you mean just to get the call?
yeah,
Hi, how are you?
To get
Will you do
plucked
this
out.
for us?
You know,
Yeah.
these days it's like, okay, this guy has 1 million SoundCloud followers. Who's his label? Like, there's other things, there's other factors involved in that. Like, this was just purely like, we just need something cool and interesting. It was me right there.
Well,
like,
it must have opened your world to just a legion of new fans because it went all over the world, right?
yeah, and not only the fans was one thing, but like when you're around people like Blue Man, they just operate on a different level of creativity. Everything they do is so, I don't know. It was completely mind opening. Every show I'd watch every show and I'm learning something new because I'm like, there's so much to look at and so much to listen to while they're on. They just kind of, it's just a different thing. And like they're going back to like faking it. They don't fake it. Like they could.
Right.
They have because they make their own instruments and that play and have this like distinct sound. Like who is the last person to do that? But I mean, they're throwing things all. I mean, yeah, that was a fun tour.
That's great, man. Tell me about the YouTube channel, how that got started, and how you started creating specific content for YouTube and for the internet.
Well, that was another kind of a byproduct of what I was doing on stage because, I basically started using YouTube as like an EPK, electronic press kit, so I didn't have to send out DVDs and,
Right, so you could just say, here's what I do, go to this link and you can see it, right?
Yeah, and it's from a live show, and it shows like the when I'm scratching the videos and stuff. That was a difficult point to get across. It's like okay, here's the thing. I'm on stage. It's a DJ show. I'm scratching and stuff, but the video's getting scratched too.
And people just
it's like
couldn't understand that. Yeah,
it's like weird, and then you have to explain like the mechanics of it because they want to know what that's all about, and then they got to figure out what does it look like and what does it sound like because it sounds super artsy and like techie, but it's techie to me, but to the audience, it's pretty seamless. You know what I mean? Once you see it. So I'm trying to be as accessible as possible. So that was part of it. So there was a couple videos that kind of took off, and somebody approached me to do a remix of movies because they were seeing what I was doing because I was making stuff with movies anyways. And I said, well, why don't you make one that's just that just lives on YouTube and not from your hands?
So this would be the beginning of your process of remixing video as opposed to somebody who would remix an audio track. You're actually remixing chunks of a film or television show or something like that.
Yeah, and I would approach it the same way, because with when you're making a hip hop track, you're sampling stuff. You're taking like, all right, a guitar from here and like a little harp from here and a snare from here and a kick from there, and you're chopping it together and making it into one thing. I just kind of applied. It's the same thing. What I'm doing is I'm just taking like an explosion here and a phrase here and a punch here and a kick here and making a song out of it.
It's very, very cool. It's very, very cool. And there's a lot of humor involved in what you're doing. You're doing things that are interesting and totally shift. You're really making the video stuff your own. Is that just because you're a hilarious guy?
I don't know about
It's
hilarious.
It's probably that's what entertains you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I think for what I do, if I try to take it too seriously, then it just kind of there's a disconnect. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, he's really trying really hard to be a movie guy or whatever. I mean, the first one I did was for Lionsgate. Like they really, I don't know what they saw in it. They just kind of like figured that out.
So you had done something on your own, and then they approached you and said, "Will you do something?"
No, I hadn't even done one yet. Yeah, they kind of. I don't know where they got the idea from, but it made sense.
Was it for a specific film or a bunch of movies?
Yeah, it was for 3 movies, and they weren't. It wasn't. It was like The Transporter and like The Spirit. One other one maybe, but something about it, like I think they were action movies, so just the sampling of action is probably a little bit more on the funny side than like serious, even though it is pretty, I mean, it's a lot of impact. And I learned on that one, like, because I didn't want to offend anybody, because I have respect for filmmakers and studios. Like, I don't want to take what they're doing and make a joke out of it, because it came from them first, and it wasn't just me like, ooh, okay, let me try this thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that an actual film company like Lionsgate came to you and said, will you do a mashup or whatever you'd want to call it?
Yeah.
A remix of these video clips.
Yeah, I think it really helped coming from them, because then if left to my own devices, I might have been like, ooh, let me just like show this punch 1,000,000 times in a row and just make it on beat, and it'll be freaking hilarious, and it'll get 1,000,000 views on this new YouTube thing. So it kind of reined me in and helped. I looked at it more of like, okay, this is sort of like this is like an artsy trailer. I'm just going to add my own little spin to it.
Now, are you composing the music that goes underneath these things?
Yeah.
That's great, because that's an outlet for you to actually do original music instead of remixing.
Yeah, exactly. And I've tried it with other people's music, because like, again, like some studios will request that. They'll say, okay, we really want to use this song. Can you fit it in? And it just kind of doesn't work. Like, I'd always have to make a break anyways, because I can't throw all what I'm doing on top of someone's vocals and have it make sense. That's tough for me. Like, I like to separate it.
In terms of chopping things up, are you editing the video first and then creating music, or doing it the other way around?
I start with a very simple beat first and then build from there, because sometimes there's a musical element in what I'm sampling from the movie, or something. Maybe somebody's singing, like a really, usually it's not a good sing. They're just it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, right.
But it's enough. It's rhythmic. You know what I mean? Or someone's saying something in a rhythmic way, and then I'll take that phrase and kind of build out from that. It really helps to have that background in music, because I think, if I were to just come at this with having never made a beat before, no, it would be awful.
Right, and there is a story about you did an Iron Man remix, and then got the attention of actually the director of Iron Man, and went on to do something.
That was another cool one, because I just liked it. I just wanted to do it as a fan. Like, this movie's coming out. I'm like, I'm actually really interested in this movie. So I took all the trailers that I could find, cut something together, and then Jon Favreau hits me up on Twitter, and I was like, oh no, this is it. He's going to say, take it down.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh my God.
And as soon as you saw it, you must think, okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah, like, I didn't even read it. I put my phone down for a little while. I was like, I can't look at this one. This is gonna break my heart. Oh my God. And at the end of the video, I wore like the Iron Man like mask, and I was like, what's up, guys? Like an idiot. But he actually liked it, and so that was a huge relief. And also, this was very untreaded territory for me, like making something on my own and having to hear the reaction from the creator of it. Like, that's kind of scary, because I don't know how I would react if that were me.
If somebody had taken your work and remixed it,
yeah,
and
like
all up, you might not be so happy with that.
And I know that's going to come at a certain point, because because of karma. So that was a little scary. But he's just one of those guys that just really gets it.
So you ended up doing something official and sanctioned for the Iron Man film.
Yeah. It was good enough for me to just get the thumbs up, the compliment. But then it was like, oh, wait, but we actually might want to use this for something else, like a little commercial. And so that was just like, whoa, like, all right.
And then you started being asked to direct some videos and things like that?
Yeah, then like music videos and stuff. I did one with the Jabberwockies. That was their first music video.
In the creative process for doing a music video, are you pulling in some of the techniques that you've created for video remixing?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, in the editing process, yeah. But again, with those guys, I didn't want to do that much because they're already doing so much in their routines, you know. On my other music videos, yeah, I do a lot of that stuff. Ironically, my music video, I made a song with Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and the music video I did for it has no edits in it. It's one take.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's the complete opposite of what I do on YouTube.
No chopping, no
chopping, absolutely none.
No nothing.
There's a little bit of a reverse, but there's no edits.
And now tell me about American Recluse and what's happening with that.
That one is a huge departure from what I normally do. It's not funny. It's not choppy. It's not cute. It's actually pretty dark. It's a pretty dark drama that came from a friend of mine who's an actor from San Francisco. He was just going through like a really rough, divorce and just a really dark time. And I was there talking him through it, just listening to the stories, and it kind of formed into this idea where like, let's exorcise these demons and make like a short film. Just make a cool little thing, just get it out.
Now, is it a scripted film with actors or more documentary style? Or
no, it's scripted, and it went from just being like a little 10-minute thing where he's almost just ranting to like 80 minutes. I ended up writing like,
So you wrote
a
the
full
script.
Yeah. So it's definitely not autobiographical, but it definitely stems from a lot of that struggle. But I had to add like, my own little like, ooh, what if we did this? And it's sort of like a weird, like it gets weird. It's definitely not a straightforward, family drama.
Sounds amazing. Now, and you shot it over a long period of time. Is it done now? Or?
No, we shot it over like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a small cast. It's my first film, so I didn't want to like punch above my weight in the first one. I didn't want to, because of budget and time. Just being my first film, I didn't want to just barely get there. I wanted to get there and make as little concessions as possible. Yeah, we shot it in 2 weeks. I mean, we're editing
Obviously,
now.
editing process takes a while.
Editing is taken. I mean, I'm editing it too, so I had to step away for like at least a couple weeks. We're about to start scoring,
and you're going to do the music, I assume.
No, I have somebody else who's better than me at at music. He's amazing. His name's Jesse Cale. I met him in L.A. He lived there for a while. He's back in Ohio, so we're trading files back and forth. But he's much better at this than I am.
As you're in the editing process of, I guess, more of a straightforward film project, are you finding that any of the remix stuff that you've been doing is entering into the picture, or is that not happening at all?
That's a good question, because from a technical standpoint, yes. Like I know how to edit, but all of my filmmaker friends, they're all telling me the same thing. Let the scenes go. Like let them play. Like just keep that in mind. I know your instinct is to like cut out all of the blank space. Hey, I love what you do, but like just keep in mind, just let it breathe. Let these scenes breathe. And that's like the best advice, because my instinct is to like cut, like, ooh, he's done talking. All right, just keep going.
I mean, that's really interesting because it's such a departure from the speed and the rhythm of what you've been doing before. So you have to accept a whole new flow.
Yeah, it's kind of freeing too, because I don't feel pressured to like build a beat and have everyone's, cadence be like a hip hop song.
Right. I think maybe there's an idea for a movie where everybody has a direct cadence and it's all in rhythm and they talk, like
I'd watch that.
Yeah, like they're doing it. Like the whole movie is a hip hop track.
Yeah. But this whole thing, it's such a learning experience, because it's not, it encompasses so much, more than what I'm used to, because I'm used to getting the source material, like not actually being a part of making it, and then just working with actors and stuff. And again, this is not like it's not a funny movie. It has funny parts, but it's pretty dramatic. And so being on set, like sometimes it's like, wow, like I'm really bummed right now. Like, damn,
like
man.
this is
like,
really serious.
Yeah, and just watching people kind of just get there, emotionally. It's like, wow, it's interesting to see what it takes, because you don't necessarily see that on stage or in the studio. I mean, you kind of do, but for these guys, it's like they got to go to a really dark place. I'm looking at them do that, and I'm like, well, how can I apply this like to my shows or my music? It's really interesting.
Did you find yourself as a director? Are you developing a style? Very involved with what's happening with the actors, or are you just letting them go?
I mean, on this one, being my first feature, I was a little more hands off, especially in the beginning, because you don't want to step in and just be like micromanaging. You know what I mean? Because I hate that as a performer. Like, there's something to be said about just everybody kind of figuring things out for themselves to a certain degree. Like, if it's really not working, then by all means, say something.
You have to control it somehow.
Yeah.
But some people try to lay their vision so heavily on actors or musicians. This is exactly how I want it to turn out. Or they say, you guys are relatively brilliant. Just do what you do.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know which style you were finding yourself choosing.
What I wanted to avoid is line reads, which is like, just say it like this: open the door. You know what I mean? Instead of open the door. Like you don't want to do that, because that's just. I mean, A, it's not fun, and B, it's just sort of you're not trusting the actor's choice.
They know the story, and if they're good at what they're doing, they should be able to say, open the door the way it works into the scene in the story.
Yeah, and it also has to do with the other actors who are playing against them. Like are you acting with them, like, because you're not just looking at a tennis ball.
Well, that seems like it must be incredibly exciting for you. What an amazing thing to do, and also returning to some film stuff that you were interested in when you were in college.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. And I think everything that I do makes me appreciate the other thing better or more, because I miss it. The whole time we were shooting, I was like, I miss being on tour. And I go on tour, and it's like, wow, I miss the camera,
But that's great, because everything has a creative pull for you still. It's still drawing you in as you learn more stuff. I mean, I think that's what keeps us all going.
Definitely.
Is trying a new project and then going, I didn't know how to interview someone.
Yeah, like this.
Until
this is amazing.
I decided to do this. And then, you fall all over yourself and you hate the sound of your own voice. But it's totally an uplifting learning experience.
Yeah, that sounds weird to me, because when I got your email about it, I was like, oh my God, of course. Of course Will has a podcast. This is, of course.
Well, there you go. It's just, I'm lucky to know so many interesting people. That's my break in life.
And me.
Exactly.
And no, I have high hopes for this. This is a really, really cool podcast, man.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Well, I think and unless you have anything else brilliant to tell me, I think we maybe have covered it.
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay, Mike Relm, thank you very much. And,
thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to seeing you for a couple more days before you head back to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. To learn more about Mike Relm and all the amazing things he does, go to mikerelm.com. And you've got to check out his YouTube channel, Relm Vision. There's some amazing and hilarious videos there. Thanks to Liam Fox O'Brien for some additional research for this interview. For information, links, and more interviews, go to roomtoneradio.com. Remember, an interesting conversation beats talking to yourself. See you next time.